Good afternoon and welcome to Batterdays in the Batcave. I'm Omni Dog here with my co-host Taylor Brown, and we're here to talk about all things Batman related here on a Batter Day. See, Batman, Saturday, Batter Day, get it? So today we're going to talk about a couple things. First, not first, but these are the things we're going to talk about. One thing we're going to do is review The Batman Who Laughs. And that is by Snyder and has artwork by Jock. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Jock didn't do art throughout the whole thing, did he? Or did he?
He did all 7 issues of the main series. And then Eduardo Risso did art for the Grim Knight one-shot with James Tynion IV.
Yeah, which I am on board as saying favorite story of the second half of the year so far.
It was an excellent issue by far. That was my favorite part of Batman Who Laughs, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a few minutes.
Right.
Which is funny because it wasn't even written by Snyder.
Tyler Blunt's already upset that I didn't trick you. Tyler, that's a different show. That's yours and my show. Taylor and I work on a different friendship level thing. You like to tell me your dreams and nightmares and stuff. Thank you, Jesse. Say what? And after we're also going to talk about Dark Day Metal. And we're going to talk about a metal reading order that we think is the easiest reading order. It's actually very simple. It's not like Spider-Verse.
No.
It's very simple reading order. Metal is constructed very easily, very new reader friendly. It's very simple to follow. So I don't. Taylor and I both sort of took a shot at it, and we decided on a final version. And I think it's very easy to follow. And what would you like to talk about first? Tyler's on a rampage.
Man.
Let's see. What's
Tyler? On a rampage on Thursday night too.
Yeah, he's a rampaging guy. Tyler, yeah, apparently you have what's known as a traditional friendship where you are nice to him and he is nice to you. I don't understand. Well, we're Yankees. We do it differently than you guys do it down in the South, I guess, Tyler.
Yeah, we don't have those Southern accents, and we're actually up here. We should be less polite.
Yeah, we should
more
be.
Polite.
Yeah,
there's against stereotype. Well, before we even get into the metal of the Batman Who Laughs, let's whet their appetite for the end of the show. That way we give people an incentive to stay all the way through.
That's true. We do have Batman Damned, which is going to get its just desserts. And we have a guy who sent me a ton of books and said, I'm going to call him Super Awesome Fan Guy. Super Awesome Fan Guy said, I have these books. I was going to sell them in the group or sell them on eBay. And I thought, you know what? I'd rather Jess gave them away on his show. And he wants no credit, which is why I'm calling him Super Awesome Fan Guy. He wants no credit. Doesn't want his name to be given out. Doesn't want anything known about him. He just wants people to be happy. He just wants to give back. He enjoys the show. He just wants to give back. The thing about all these books is that they are all out of print. They're not necessarily $500 books out of print, but they are all out of print, somewhat hard to find. And he's doing a super nice thing by giving these books to me and saying, give them to your viewers and make somebody happy. So kind of a pay it forward type of thing. So Super Awesome Fan Guy, I thank you. And we'll be giving that away right after Batman Damned gets damned.
So we have a lot to look forward to. It's a jam-packed episode.
Yes, it is.
So before we get started, can you highlight Tyler Blunt's last comment? He apparently has some delusions of grandeur. I'm naming my son after him. I'm sorry, Tyler. I think that'd be too close. Taylor having a son named Tyler. That'd be a little too close, Tyler.
Baby Tyler.
Maybe for the next one. We already have a name picked out for this one, so maybe next time.
Now, you're sure it's a boy?
Yeah, it's a boy.
Oh, it's a boy. Okay, and
Yeah.
you've already got a name picked out?
Yes, we do. So it's the due date's less than 2 weeks away. So it's not yes. I'm sorry.
Is it Omni Dog?
I tried floating that by my wife, and she didn't get it. So no.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Now that's not even cool.
It's unfortunate. Do you ever watch the show The League? You ever heard of it?
The League. No.
It was a show about these guys who are involved in this fantasy football league, and it's hilarious. And the one guy loses, so he has to name his son Chalupa Batman. So maybe if I lost a bet, I would name him something different. But
oh my gosh, I gotta see this show. That's hilarious.
You'd love it. You're a big football guy, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
So you'd love it, especially if you do fantasy football or anything like that. I don't like fantasy football or football, but it's still a hilarious show. So you don't really need to love it, but I'm sure you get much more out of it if you like football.
I've played a couple seasons of fantasy football, and then this was back in, I don't know, 2008, 2009. And then I got tired of rooting against my own team, players to do well against my team. I thought, something's wrong here. I don't dig this, but
right.
I'm totally into I'm fine with, I understand it enough where that I understand the concept where there's extreme fantasy leagues where you got to get a tattoo of Casper drinking tequila up your leg or whatever.
It's kind of like Seinfeld and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia put together. It's just like terrible people doing terrible things to each other.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. So Tyler just said, until the birth certificate is signed, I will dream. All right, Tyler. Keep on dreaming, buddy. No,
I won't join the Omni Bros fantasy football team. I just won't join fantasy football. I'm not going to root against my own team for the sake of points.
I get that. It kind of takes a lot of the fandom out of it, and it just kind of makes it all about you winning, which is kind of not as fun.
Yeah.
All right, so you ready to jump into metal?
Metal. Yep. Let me pick up this big pile of metal. I've read tons of metal and metal-related spin-offs now.
That was pretty much your vacation, wasn't it?
That was, yeah.
Reading metal.
Reading metal, yeah. And I have to say, I don't... I understand that people are on the fence, sort of. Well, not on the fence, but there are people who like metal, and there are people who don't like metal, and maybe there are people who are on the fence about metal. I enjoyed metal overall. I will say I thought it was an interesting concept. I enjoyed the chances that these writers took. I love the art, of course.
It's important to note that you read it after Batman Damned, so everything seems like a masterpiece after that.
That's the key I was going to get to. After you read Batman Damned, everything is Shakespeare after that. So it's possible that I was tainted after reading Batman Damned. I'm just going to say overall, I enjoyed the concept, the idea, and the characters of metal when I read it over vacation. So that's just my brief thing.
Yeah, I think it was a really fun, like bombastic, over-the-top event series, and I'm the kind of person that doesn't like events that much, just because I hate having to collect a bunch of random tie-ins. A lot of times the tie-ins don't even really contribute to the story very much, and that is a landmine that I think metal was able to sidestep. I think it could have been maybe like 3 or 4 issues shorter with the tie-ins, but for the most part, the tie-ins really contributed to the overall story and moved the narrative forward, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just mention the main event in a tie-in, and it's like, that's it? Why'd I even buy this?
Yeah.
You just feel ripped off. I didn't feel ripped off. Well,
no.
in one way I kind of did, but we'll get to that. Because this series is kind of collected in a very hodgepodge manner at this point. So right now, we have Dark Days, Road to Metal, and a standard size hardcover. And to be honest, this was the only complaint I had about this entire series. I think this first hardcover is a little bit of a ripoff. mainly because it only has 2 issues that contribute to this event, and the rest of it are issues that kind of help give the background
Yeah.
of Metal, but they're all out of order and they're all like ripped out of their context. So no one's really going to read through all of these random issues. At least in my opinion, I didn't. I skipped them.
I did too.
I had read all of them in other contexts besides Final Crisis. I've avoided Final Crisis because I don't want to give myself a headache and not understand what's going on. So there is an issue of Final Crisis in here. There's some issue of Return of Bruce Wayne by Grant Morrison. There's some Scott Snyder stuff in here, but they're all out of their context, so it's not really the most flowy of reading experiences.
No, and they're hard to understand because they're out of context.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the only book that I felt was poor in some ways because 3/4 of it is random issues that kind of fill in the background, but you don't really desperately need them, in my opinion.
You feel like you don't need the first 2 stories?
No. The first 2 stories, which are the Forge and the casting, you do need to read those. I mean,
you got to read those.
Random issues that they put into this book aren't needed.
Right, but you do need to read the Forge and the casting from these books.
So unfortunately, you do have to buy this book.
Or pick up the stories on Comixology or something.
Or Hoopla or something to read this volume on Hoopla. But it's kind of, I want to have the whole thing in my collection. That's just me and my collector mentality. If I'm going to
me.
And the best part of this series, in my opinion, is Dark Knights Rising, another standard size hardcover. I love this book.
I did too.
And I really enjoyed it because just kind of give an overview of Metal in the first place. It starts out with Batman like furiously trying to uncover and solve the biggest mystery of his career, which is how all these different mysterious and powerful metals have affected him over the course of his life, and how they're really channeling this interdimensional creature named Barbados, who wants to drag our world down into his dark multiverse. And he sends out his stooges, which are the 7 dark Batmen from different worlds. And there's 7 of them, like I said, and they're all kind of variations and twistings of Batman and the Justice League, and even some of their villains. So
which is really cool. The versions they come up with are really cool.
And right now, the only one who's really received a lot of press is the Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah.
But he actually isn't my favorite. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, but there's the Red Death, and he's kind of like a version of the Flash, where Bruce Wayne is able to get the Flash's powers in this dark universe. You have to remember, all these different dark worlds exist in the dark multiverse. And there's all these different dark versions of Batman. So there's the Red Death, and there is the Murder Machine, which is kind of like a take on Cyborg.
Yeah.
And it has a lot to do with Alfred. I don't want to spoil that, but it has a lot to do with Alfred in that universe and what happens to him. And there's also the Dawnbreaker, and he was my favorite. I love the Dawnbreaker.
With the Green Lantern?
Right.
Yeah.
So in this storyline, Bruce's parents are killed, and right after this happens, an Owen power ring finds him because Bruce has the ability to overcome great fear. And so instead of using it for good, he ends up just killing Joe Chill.
Yeah.
But he doesn't stop there. He goes on a murderous rampage and decimates all the criminals in Gotham City. But he goes even beyond that, and he murders other people. And I don't want to get into spoilers about that. But this is my favorite issue of all the dark Batmen. I'm not sure who your favorite was, but I really enjoyed this one a lot.
I love the whole book. I thought that was the strongest book in the series.
And Dawnbreaker has his own oath that he says, which kind of, it's a whole rhyming scheme, and it plays on the regular Green Lantern stuff. So there's the Dawnbreaker, who I thought was my favorite, and there's also the Drowned, which is like a female version of Bruce named Bryce, and she's a take on Aquaman. And her whole world pretty much gets decimated by a massive flood, and talks about how she handles that. That issue was decent. I did like this one by Peter Tomasi and Francis Manipul, and that is The Merciless. And this version is kind of like Ares meets Wonder Woman. But that was a really interesting story. And the final, well, actually, there's 2 more. There's the Devastator. And he's like Doomsday. And I don't know how you like that one, because I know you're not a huge fan of Doomsday.
I like this story a lot.
Right. It's pretty much how Batman is trying to take on Superman in his world. and is saying if Superman gets out of order and starts killing people, I need to be ready. And so Batman takes this doomsday virus and turns into this doomsday monster to take on Superman. And then finally, there's the one that everyone knows about. There's the Batman Who Laughs. And so, Jess, if you had to pick one favorite dark Batman, who do you think you'd pick?
I dug the Green Lantern Batman the most.
Right, the Dawnbreaker.
Dawnbreaker, yeah.
I thought that was so cool.
I just thought that was really inventive and interesting.
Right. And I know a lot of people don't like Ethan Van Sciver personally, but he's a great artist. And he is arguably one of the greatest Green Lantern artists. And that was a beautifully drawn issue, regardless of what you think about him personally.
Yeah, he continues to get work too, so it's not like he's actually breaking any laws. So I'm okay with him as long as he's not, sexually harassing women or espousing the removal of a species of people from the earth or something. I'm trying to. It's hard for me to until he actually commits a crime. I guess I'm okay with him. I can't be part of the thought police.
It's just really hard for me. Like, whenever some of your favorite creators or actors end up having this big scandal, like Kevin Spacey, that whole thing. Like, I loved House of Cards, and I love a lot of his movies, and it's like, ugh. And it's like, I'm so glad that he's caught. I'm so glad that all came to light. But then it's like, can I watch his movies and still enjoy them? Like, am I still allowed? And I don't know. That's a conversation for another time. But yeah, I think you're right. Ethan Van Sciver hasn't gotten to that level yet, even though a lot of people don't like him. I think he's still a great artist. And I don't think you can argue that he's not one of the greatest Green Lantern artists. He's amazing.
Right.
So I love that issue. And we also have The Resistance, Dark Days, The Resistance. And this includes a lot of different issues that don't talk about Batman or about a lot of the Justice League. Actually, there's Justice League members in this book, but it begins with people like Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, Nightwing, Damian. But then it kind of ends with the Flash and Green Lantern and other Justice League characters. And for the most part, this book was pretty good. I thought it was the weakest out of all of them, though.
I thought it was the weakest, but I still enjoyed it.
Right, and I didn't think it was terrible by any means, but I just didn't think it was as strong as the main event or the Dark Knight's Rising.
Right, and when the weakest book in an event is still pretty good to me, that's okay. I'm still happy when something like that happens.
Right.
Because I've read plenty of events where the weakest book is a big heaping pile of dung. And so the fact that the worst book here is still pretty good and interesting, I'm happy with that.
I really enjoyed this Batman Lost issue that was written by Snyder and Tinian and Joshua Williamson, but had art by Doug Mahnke, Yannick Paquette, and Jorge Jimenez. This issue was gorgeously drawn.
Oh, with the Thomas Wayne, and was it Thomas Wayne and the little girl?
That's Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne
is an older man.
Oh, all right.
It kind of goes through a lot of his history, and it goes through one of his first cases. It goes back to like the dawn of time with the Bat Tribe, which plays a big part into this series, which is a callback to Grant Morrison's Return of Bruce Wayne run, where Batman is thrown throughout time, and he kind of starts this Bat cult unintentionally. So I really enjoyed this issue. And I want to say off of that, I think to really fully enjoy Metal, I think you do need to have read Morrison's run and Snyder's run. Do I think you can jump into the series cold and still enjoy it? Yes, but I think you're going to miss a lot. I don't know what you think about that.
You have to have read Snyder's.
Right.
I think it would help if you have read Morrison's, but you have to have read Snyder's.
I definitely agree with that. At least, like Jess just said, read Snyder's Batman run because there are so many callbacks, like to the Court of Owls, to Endgame. The Joker plays a big role in this. So I would really encourage you to read that before you read Metal. But a lot of Morrison's run plays into this as well, though, because Barbados, he was created by Morrison. So I think it's really important to read Morrison's run as well. But that's in my opinion. But I think you can still get along and still enjoy it for what it is. You might just miss a lot of the Easter eggs, not fully understand every single aspect of
it. Here's a question from Joe Chib. Well, at least you'll have the information. You'll have the information that you need.
Right. Yeah, people either seem to love Grant Morrison's run or hate it. I'm kind of in the middle. I enjoy it, but I don't think it's the best run of all time.
Gosh, it's been so long since I read it. I can't wait to read it again. I remember reading it in singles, so it's been ages since I read it.
Yeah, November or December, Jess and I are going to do a video kind of contrasting Bat God versus Batman. Like Batman is this really hyper-powered superhero versus he messes up. He's really weak at times and vulnerable. And Grant Morrison really helped create the Bat God. This idea that Batman can do anything and no one can defeat him. And so we're going to really take a deep dive into his run. And I know Jess is going to start reading that probably in the next month or so. So we'll get to it eventually.
Well, if it's 2 Omnis, I better start reading it sooner than that. This is already October. Didn't you just say October or November?
I think it's November or December. I'll have to look. We have some time. We can always push stuff back, but we'll figure it out. But I really enjoyed Resistance. I thought it was weaker than Dark Knight Rising in the main event, but here's the main event book, and which is a oversized hardcover. And just to highlight, this is a trade paperback. DC, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
Put them all out as oversized hardcovers. What's the big deal? Just do it. People would have bought it. I just don't get it.
No.
It's another example of DC just making really weird decisions.
No. No, DC, no.
Oh, that's something bad was happening. I thought you spilled on your keyboard again.
No, DC happened. They're driving me nuts.
And this main series was drawn by the always great Greg Capullo, who always gets better and better as the years go by. And again, this series is a lot of fun. It really ties into the history of the DC universe. Again, you don't have to have read every single Crisis event, but if you have read Infinite Crisis, 52, Crisis on Infinite Earths, this will take on a lot more meaning. But don't let that intimidate you and make you think you have to have read them all.
Yeah, no.
It just really is really interested in upsetting the status quo of DC and delving deep into its mythology and into its history. And so again, this is a really fun, bombastic, over-the-top series that doesn't really take itself too seriously. You know what I mean? I feel like it's in the name. They wanted the name to really convey the overall tone of this story, which is it's metal. It's awesome. It's like a rock concert.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And so overall, I liked it. I didn't love it, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm going to keep it in my collection. I'm going to reread it throughout the years, especially those Dark Batman stories. I'm definitely rereading those as the years go by. I really love those stories.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I loved it a lot. And so, do you want to put up your reading order?
Yes, let me do that.
We're going to put this up so you can take a screenshot of it if you want. We're going to put it up and blow it up a little bit, and you can screen cap it if you want. And let's see.
All right, let me get there. Can we see it?
Yeah. Okay, there it is. There's the Black Knight's metal reading order. Now, if you screen cap it, see if you can make it just a little bit bigger.
Kind of gets cut off a little bit, though.
But that's okay. Scroll down to the beginning.
Yeah, I'll at the end of going through each issue, I'll zoom it out again so you can take a screenshot if you miss it the first time.
Yeah, and you see, okay, this way you can screen cap it right now, and you may end up taking 3 screen caps, but this way it'll be big enough so that you can read it. And this is a really well done, I think, on Taylor's part. I think it's a really well done reading order that just takes place amongst the 4 books.
And Jess had a really good contribution to this. He said, make sure you add to the issues, add which book they're found in. That way it can save you some confusion. And I went through a lot of different reading orders online, and this was the best amalgamation of those I could create. I tried my best to make it very chronological and logical. And that's hard because at some points, some issues are happening concurrently at the same exact time. So I've had to make some judgment calls. But to the best of my ability, this is Metal as it occurs chronologically. So we're to start with Dark Days the Forge and Dark Days the Casting, which are found in that standard size Road to Metal hardcover. And then, in my opinion, you can skip the rest of the issues because they're just issues from past events and past runs. And if you really want to go through them, feel free, but I don't think they're necessary, and they're really hard to read in that order. Then you jump into Metal and the oversized hardcover. I read the first 2 issues. Then you get into the Resistance trade paperback with those first 4 issues, which are a 4-issue run called Gotham Resistance. And that's really focused on Damian, Nightwing, the Suicide Squad, and Green Arrow, and how they're responding to Earth being invaded by this dark multiverse and what they're doing while Batman's missing. Because Batman at this point has been stolen. So what are they going to do at that point? And then we jump into the Dark Knight's Rising hardcover. So you'd read The Red Death, The Murder Machine, The Dawnbreaker, The Drowned, and The Merciless. And The Merciless then ties into Metal number 3. So read Metal number 3 back to the oversized hardcover. And then after that, Metal kind of jumps right back into The Devastator, which is back to the Dark Knight's Rising hardcover. Then you read The Batman Who Laughs. So there's a lot of back and forth between different volumes, but I still had an easy time doing it. It's not like Spider-Verse, wherever everything's out of order and everything's confusing. You have to jump back in between volumes, but I didn't find it annoying or hard. I was able to do it very easily. So don't be intimidated by this list, even though you have to jump back and forth a lot. There's The Batman Who Laughs, and you jump into Batman Lost in the Resistance trade paperback. You go to The Flash number 33, Justice League number 32, Green Lantern Corps number 32, and Justice League number 33. And that forms a small miniseries called Bats Out of Hell, which is the different members of the Justice League who are on a mission and how they're trying to be stopped by these different dark Batman and how they respond to that. Then you jump back into the oversized hardcover of Metal with number 4. Sorry, again, you're back to the Resistance trade paperback with Hawkman Found. Hawkman plays a massive role in this series. I was really surprised about that. He was almost one of the most important characters of this run.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't in it a ton, his character is essential to it. Then you get back into Metal number 5 with the oversized hardcover. There's an issue called The Wild Hunt, which I didn't really enjoy that much. I found it to be somewhat confusing, but it is essential to read because there's going to be a big surprise in number 6 that won't make sense to you at all if you don't read this issue. So this issue is very important, and that's in the Dark Knight Rising hardcover. Then back to Metal number 6, and that closes out the run.
Okay.
So I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. If you want to take this, we good?
Yep.
So I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. If you want to take just one big screenshot, I'll give you a couple more seconds to do that.
Okay.
And again, this is just my opinion. If you come up with your own reading order, that's great. If you have your own different idea, let us know in the comments. But this is just what I thought was the most logical for me. And I really enjoyed reading it in this way. So this is how I was able to enjoy the run. So Jess, how would you, what would your recommendation be for this book? Would you tell people who haven't read it to buy it? Or do you have any other words about the book to say?
I enjoyed it, and the fact is that I did read it after Batman Damned, so anything looks good after that. But I enjoyed it and looked forward to reading more of it, and it held my interest. The story progressed. I cared about the characters. I found myself genuinely entertained. I thought that it was inventive and interesting. So I give this book I give the whole series a solid B+.
That's the exact grade I was going to give it. It's not going to blow you away, but you're going to be entertained.
Yeah.
And that's why we read comics for the most part. Not every book needs to blow you away. I'm perfectly fine with watching a B movie that's just really good.
Yeah. I mean, I read it on vacation and I was perfectly happy. I had a cigar on the porch up in the mountains and I was reading metal and I was completely content.
So what do you think your favorite event of all time is?
My favorite event of all time is?
Right, because I'm not a big event guy, but I'm interested to see like how this would compare to other events that you like.
I don't like events.
But so would this be your favorite event then?
Oh boy, you put me on the spot here now. I'm trying to
Sorry.
think of other spots, other events. I liked Secret Wars recently, the Hickman thing that came
Oh yeah,
out.
and
That
that
was
was
good.
and he
I
was
liked all the books that came out after it. That was really interesting.
that's true.
Um, usually I look at Civil War like every day of my life and I think, why did I spend all that time looking for those books? I hate that event. Um, I'm just not big into events. I don't know. Yeah, right now metal's probably metal's easily digestible. It's very small. It's not a big deal. It's not like you needed it's not like Crisis on Infinite Earths where you needed to get Booster Gold and Blue Beetle and Quark Snout #5 or whatever, and all these different characters and stuff. It was very contained, and it was very easy to get into and out of. So yeah, right now I would say metal is my favorite. Uh, my favorite. My favorite event. I haven't read Messiah trilogy, and I haven't read Absolute Carnage yet. So
Your favorite named user is here, Cult Film Video.
Cult Film Video. There you go, Cult Film.
Well, I love Donny Cates, and I think his Venom run is great so far. So I'm sure Absolute Carnage will be excellent as well.
I'm sure it will be too.
I'm excited for that Venom hardcover that's coming out next month.
Yeah, me too.
That'll be great. So yeah, I think this is probably one of my favorite events because I don't really like events very much. I don't really have a lot of them. So overall, again, I don't think it's the best book ever, but it's solid and it's entertaining. And that's all you can really ask for at the end of the day.
Yeah. And so that leads us to now I also read the first spinoff, which was No Justice. The Justice League spinoff.
And yeah, I think the plan right now is for us to review No Justice and the Justice League by Snyder hardcover deluxe in December when it comes out, because those books will be tied together pretty well.
Okay, then I won't talk about it.
Right. So that book isn't really a part of metal. It spins out of metal.
Spins out, right.
I don't want to talk about it too much here, and we'll talk about it then. I think it'll make more sense in that video.
Okay,
we'll do in December, probably at the end of December sometime. So we'll get there.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Man Who Laughs, or the Red Ink special, which is impossible to read. I had the hardest time reading this book.
Before we get there, I just want to say one last thing about metal. I think a lot of times when I read events, I'm not really excited about where they're going with the other books. I think this had a lot of interesting questions and consequences, and I'm really excited to read where they go.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times they don't really take enough chances in events, and they kind of go back to the status quo because they're afraid. But this book really kind of bursts the wall, literally. And it has a lot of interesting consequences going forward. And one of that is the Batman Who Laughs, which we're going to review right now. And so the Batman Who Laughs is a very interesting book because it does spin out of metal, but it is actually a sequel of sorts to one of our favorite Batman books, The Black Mirror by Scott Snyder and Jock. So once again, Snyder teams up with one of my favorite artists, Jock, for a really entertaining miniseries. That's 7 issues for the miniseries and another one-shot included in that. And so in this story, Batman again is entangled in another mystery he's trying to solve. All these different dead Bruce Waynes from other universes start popping up in Gotham City, and he's trying to figure out why this is happening. And of course, we know the title. It's the Batman Who Laughs is behind it, and he has his end game for Gotham City, where he wants to twist everyone in Gotham City to his own image and take it over. I don't want to get into spoilers yet, but he has a dangerous goal for Gotham City that Bruce has to stop. And it's hard because the Batman Who Laughs is Bruce Wayne with all the inhibitions taken away. He's like the Predator. He is a supreme villain. He has all of Bruce's skills and none of his reservations about killing or doing anything like that. So he is Bruce Wayne with all the handcuffs taken off, right? Like he has nothing holding him back, which is hard for Bruce to fight against. And Batman Who Laughs brings with him one of my favorite characters, my favorite Dark Batman, the Grim Knight.
Yeah,
he is a Punisher amazing. Batman. He can use anything as a weapon. He can pump lethal gas into your apartment. He has satellites in space, so he can drive your car off the road, and no one will ever know it was him. They always think it was an accident. Gotham City is his weapon.
He has bullets that have tasers in them.
That was awesome. Yeah. I love the Grim Knight. This could have just been called the Grim Knight, and I would have liked that.
Yeah.
I actually thought he overshadowed the Batman Who Laughs. What do you think?
Oh, he was a more interesting character. Yeah.
I really thought so.
He was a very interesting character.
There's a lot of violence in this, which is great. There's a lot of the Batman Who Laughs, who has this like sword scythe type thing. He just cuts people apart. The Batman Who Laughs just constantly just takes people out, and it's just awesome. I'm trying to find some of those panels where he just really he's merciless, and he'll just do anything to accomplish his goal. Oh, here it is. Like, look at this. It's like putting a knife in this guy's head. He has a lot of different guns, and it's really off-putting. It's kind of strange at first to see Batman with guns, but this is Batman if he didn't have the reservations that Bruce actually has about killing people or about using weapons in that way. And I think Jess and I both agree that our favorite issue is the Grim Knight one-shot.
Yeah.
Which I thought was amazing. It's not even written by Scott Snyder. It's written by James Tynion IV, who's actually taking over Batman, the main series, in January, which I'm really excited about. And it's drawn by Eduardo Risso, who drew your favorite Batman story, Jess.
Right.
He drew that Flashpoint, right? And I really love his art. I think he's great. His 100 Bullets work is amazing. And I think he keeps getting better and better as the days go on, as the years go on. And I really liked. Maybe I should save this for the spoiler section.
Okay. I'll
say that for the spoiler section about that book. But what were your overall thoughts on this book, Jess?
Well, I thought it was. I'm not sure. Is this the first place where we ever find out that the Joker has a toxin in his heart?
No, the first place we find that out is in the Dark Knight's Rising issue of Batman Who Laughs. Because remember, you see how he becomes the Batman Who Laughs.
Okay, right.
And he kills the Joker, and that toxin infects him. And that's what makes him into the Batman Who Laughs.
Right. Okay. I think that is an amazing concept, and okay. Well, okay. We don't want to give away spoilers here, but this is the issue where I finally give into the concept that Alfred is a world-class neurosurgeon. So I'm having to go ahead and give into it that he's some kind of neurosurgeon, because he's that's the part about Nightfall that always bothered me. But okay, I give. He's obviously some kind of talented surgeon too. But first of all, the artwork was gorgeous. I liked. I found that it rarely is there a character in a book like James Gordon Jr. who chills me to the bone. That guy really chills me to the bone, and the fact that they brought him back and they're trying to rehabilitate him creeps the heck out of me. I find him super disturbing. The creation of him was a stroke of genius, because I find him completely unnerving. So they brought him back to try and help solve. There's a huge mystery that you're going to be better at explaining than I am. There's a huge mystery of a fail-safe that's been built into Gotham to protect it in case something goes wrong. And the Joker who laughs and the Grim Knight have destroyed it, and so now Gotham's completely vulnerable, and they want James Gordon to figure out what the Joker who laughs next move is. And I find the concept of bringing all these happy Bruce Waynes into the picture a really good concept too. I think that's interesting that they brought in all the very I don't know how he's doing it, but I love the fact that he's brought in all these various happy Bruce Waynes that he's dropping in through the dimensions and stuff. And then
tying into that, I love how Batman sneaks into the morgue and he's like looking at these bodies and trying to figure it out. Imagine how weird it would be to be looking at yourself in the morgue.
And he's seeing all these Bruce Waynes.
I love that little touch where this one Bruce Wayne from a different universe has a tattoo that says the name May with a flower on it.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. That's the name he would have given his daughter if he was married to Selena. And that was such a beautiful touch. Him just aching for this version of himself that he would love to be. And a lot of these guys, like the Batman who last points it out, all of these Batmen, well, all these Bruce Waynes are happier than you. You are the most miserable Batman of any universe.
Right.
Which was chilling to hear.
Yeah.
And it was just like, can you imagine someone coming to you and saying, hey, there's a lot of different versions of you that exist, and you are the worst of all of them. Like, that would just be so discouraging. You know what I mean? Like, that just like the Batman who laughs just knows how to twist the knife in you and make you feel like a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Your life isn't worth living at all.
And
he's not just like brutal with his hands and his weapons. He's brutal with his words.
Yeah.
What and into your mind with it.
The scene with the Court of Owls, I think, was amazing. I just thought that scene, without spoiling it, was
we'll get into that. Yeah, that was a funny scene.
I'm not even sure we need to spoil anything. We can just talk about how awesome we think some things are. It's so close to the book being released. I'm not sure we really should spoil anything.
Okay, we'll keep it spoiler free. But let me just ask you in general, what did you think? This is one of my biggest hangups. I'm trying to figure out how I feel. How did you feel about James Jr. in this book? How did you feel about how he was used?
Well, first of all, I never trust James Jr. in any situation ever in any capacity. So
you wouldn't trust him to watch your dog for a weekend?
Oh my God, no! I'd trust Charles Manson before I'd trust James Jr.
Yeah.
No, there's no chance. So I thought it was a good touch that they used him. And I thought it was interesting that they were trying to figure out if the program he was in, trying to rehabilitate him. I wasn't really clear on whether Batman and or Gordon really thought, or James really thought it was working. He was quietly working, keeping to himself, not killing, and still there was some doubt as to whether or not the program was working. And I can't quite wrap my head around who it was that doubted it. Do you remember who? Was it Batman that doubted it, or Commissioner Gordon?
I think Batman just knew he needed James Jr. And he's like,
yeah.
He almost was hoping that the medicine wasn't working, but he's like, I need your evil mind. I need to use the way that you think to be able to counteract the Batman who laughs, because he thinks in a totally different way than I do, and I need your help to. What would be his number one target? So in a way, Batman's like, I hope your pills aren't working, because I need your brutality. I need your craziness to be able to counteract the Batman who laughs. And I'm of two minds with James Gordon Jr. in this story, because I'm one of those people that just loves it when something is so excellently done. It's like, leave it alone. Let's not reboot it. Let's not do a sequel to this. It was so good. Let's just leave it, because the way they ended his story in the Black Mirror was so creepy and ambiguous, and I loved it. I like the way that Snyder dealt with him in this book, but sometimes I was kind of like, do I really need to have him in this book? But I
Yeah,
get why he did it. I thought it was well done.
I thought he was well done.
I don't think it could have been done better. I think it was done really well, but sometimes I like when they let things lie, which comics isn't really well known for. But I'm of two minds. I think they did it well, but a part of me is like, I kind of wish they'd have saved James Jr. for that one storyline. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I thought I was still well done. I kind of have that hang up to some degree. And I really liked this book. I wouldn't say I loved it. I don't think it ascended to the heights of Black Mirror, Endgame,
Oh no.
Court of Owls. I really think, again, it was like a B+ for me. I liked it, but it wasn't nearly as good as those other books, even though it was excellent.
I liked it a little bit more than Metal. I enjoyed it. Of course, again, I read it after Damned, so this is pretty much Grapes of Wrath, Cannery Row material. I'm not gonna give it an A-, but I feel like it deserves more than a B+, and somewhere between a B+ and A- if there's a grade there, because I liked it a little bit more than Metal. I enjoyed Batman Who Laughs a lot. Yeah, it's not as good as Snyder's Black Mirror. It's not a classic, but
Right.
it's very good.
I think I might change my rating for Metal then. I think you're right. This is better than Metal. I'm going to give Metal a B.
I think I'm going to do that too. I'm
Oh,
giving
this will have a
Metal
B+.
Yeah.
I'd rather read this than Metal if I had to read one of them again.
Yeah, I'm doing that too. I'm dropping Metal to a B and giving this a B+.
And my one critique of this book and Snyder in general, one of his greatest strengths is also one of his greatest weaknesses, his stylistic prose. He is an excellent writer, and he actually started in prose. He started with a book of short stories, and he was working on a novel that he eventually abandoned. He became a comic book writer. And you can just tell that he would do so well writing novels and short stories. And I kind of hope he gets back to that someday, because you can tell he's really strong in that area. But the hard thing with comics is that it's a visual medium.
Yeah.
And sometimes he can just be so verbose and so talky. Like, look how many panels are on this. There's a lot of panels here. And I love reading. I'm not trying to say, oh, I want less words. I don't want to read. It's just, this is a visual medium. And sometimes too many panels can just really mess up the pace of a storyline. Like, look how many different thought bubbles, how many different word balloons, how many different thoughts are in here. I love reading novels. I read novels and I read comics at the same time, because if I just read comics all the time, I'll get kind of burned out. So I'm not trying to say I don't want to read. It's just comics are different than novels, and you have to understand that as a writer. Yeah. I think sometimes he can just be too stylistic and too verbose for his own good. And a lot of times your greatest strength can be your greatest weakness as well. So that was one thing I was like, okay, Scott, can you just kind of,
Yeah,
pull it back a little bit? I just think you're kind of talking a little bit too much at us. I need more show than tell. That was just my opinion about that.
Yeah, here Joe Chip knows what's up. Came here for the book reviews, stayed for Omni Dog's t-shirt. Thank you, buddy.
Blue G says, you're right, Taylor, but it's still better than Mr. Hollow Earth's run.
Well, yeah.
The Batman Odyssey.
Yeah, good heavens.
But again, Jock is fantastic in this series. I've been showing off this artwork for the past 20 minutes, so you can see that he is amazing. I just love his work. He's able just to evoke emotion out of you, fear and dread.
Fear and dread, and the bloody knives and stuff. I can really feel that kind of visceral kind of tension and fright with his artwork. I really can.
And I'm really excited for those two to get back to Witches, which is what they're doing right now.
Good.
I loved Witches, and I just think they're both so suited to horror. And on your recommendation, I actually just got Severed in. And
good.
I'm excited to read that.
I've read that 2 or 3 times. I really like that.
I had an Amazon gift card after my birthday, and I remember I've always wanted to read Severed, and I remember you saying that was a great book. And it's October, so it's horror month. So I want to read more horror books. So I'm excited to read Severed by Scott Snyder, because I think horror is his wheelhouse, and he's so good at that.
I agree.
So would you agree that everyone needs to read Snyder's run and Metal before this book?
Yes.
And Black Mirror.
Yes.
I think you need to read Black Mirror, read Snyder's New 52 run, then read Metal, then jump into this. Otherwise, this will be really confusing to you, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's not like a new reader friendly book. You have to have some background.
It's not. There's lots other Batman books out there that are new reader friendly. This book is not one of them.
And that's probably why it's held back from being a classic, because it is so dependent upon other things.
Yeah.
Whereas you can pick up Black Mirror, that could be your first Batman work, and you'd be perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
And same with the New 52 run. You could start there, and that's a great place to start. Whereas The Batman Who Laughs is so dependent upon Scott Snyder's run. Oh, I have one other critique that I want to get to, and I won't make it a spoiler. I didn't love the cliffhanger ending. I wish that it had just been his capstone to his DC Universe in continuity work on Batman, because The Last Night on Earth is going to be his final Batman work, but that's a Black Label book. That's going to be out of continuity. But this was like his capstone, his final work in DC continuity with Batman. And they were trying to set up the new Superman Batman series coming out, which I'm going to read, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's by Joshua Williamson with art by David, is it Marquez, I think? I'm really excited about that book, but I was like, come on, like, can't we just end this on a not like leading into something else? Like, can't this be like a big, like, just wrapping up your huge run that you've done? And I heard that was something he added at the last minute. And they wanted to spin it into this new book, which I don't really like that editorial interference.
I don't either.
So, I mean, it wasn't a bad cliffhanger. I just thought it wasn't needed for this book.
Before we get into the fun part of the show, this was fun, but the even more fun, the goofy, the whimsical part of the show. Here's a good question for both of us. What's up, guys? Have you guys read Batman White Knight? I'm almost done and really, really enjoying it. Love all the Batman, the animated series callbacks, also all the movie callbacks.
Well, if you are interested in our thoughts on it, we'll give it to you now. But if you want a more in-depth analysis, actually go back to our first video, our favorite underrated Batman runs and the ones that we think are most overrated. And in my opinion, I thought this book was overrated. I liked it. The art is amazing. You can't speak against Sean Gordon Murphy's art. I thought the story was he's not a great writer, in my opinion. He's a fantastic artist, but he's not a great writer. He's fine. He's good, but he's better when he's paired with somebody else who's writing. I thought the story, like we talked about in our video that was going through all the different Batman movies, he borrows a lot of his story from Batman and Robin, the movie. And it was like, dude, why would you pick the worst Batman movie to kind of curb from? But I think it's a solid book. I'm excited to read the new series that's coming out, The Curse of the White Knight, even though it has Azrael in it. I don't really care about Azrael, but maybe he'll make him cool for the first time. I know you enjoyed the book more than I did.
Yeah, I think I did.
It's a solid book. It's just not one of my favorites.
Highlighter asks, is that Snyder Batman Omni coming out soon? The Snyder Batman Omni. Yeah, it actually is.
Isn't that November?
Yeah.
Let me look it up real quick.
But yeah, I thought you meant the metal Omni that he promised me like 2 years ago and still hasn't shown up.
Yeah, I really do think that one day they'll collect Metal in an omnibus, but I didn't really want to wait for that because you do need to read Metal to really understand a lot of the DC books coming out right now.
Yeah.
I would encourage you, if you haven't read it yet and you want to read it, just get these books and trade them in later because you have no idea when it's coming. And we've very much established before on the show, DC does not make logical decisions. They just seem to just do whatever they feel like in the moment.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't trust them to do it. I think one day they will, but who knows when that will be. So on Amazon, it says that the Snyder Omnibus is coming out November 5th, but that'll be even earlier on in-stock trades. That'll probably be like a week before that. So it's coming out very soon for those of you who want that run, that volume. I know Jess isn't holding his breath for volume 2.
Well, I'm happy with my standard hardcovers for right now until I see volume 2.
Yeah, my opinion, my thoughts on really big omnis. I just don't like 900,000 page behemoths. So I'm probably gonna stay away from that one. I'm happy with what I have now. But if you haven't read it before, this is a great way to collect it. If they finish it, I'm sure they will. It's the most popular Batman run of all time. I'm sure they'll complete all of it.
Irish Knight says, Omni Dog's Vault. One last question for you guys. Tom King's Batman, a read or pass?
Well, Jess, why don't you say what made you famous on the Batforce Radio podcast?
Batforce Radio.
Tom King knows who you are.
Tom King knows that I have early Alzheimer's, apparently, because I love Tom King. He's my favorite Batman writer. So I say it is a definite read. I love Tom King's Batman. So it is a definite read for me.
I definitely agree with that as well. I'm going to wait till he sticks to see how he sticks to the landing to say he's my favorite, but he's definitely up there.
Oh, yeah. Boy, I hope he doesn't botch the landing.
So we'll see. It seems like people either love his run or hate it. There's not much middle ground.
Yeah, that is weird that way. There's nobody that's like lukewarm on it.
That's it's not Scott Snyder. That's Tom King in general. I think people either love him or they hate him to some degree. I think a lot of his works are very universally praised, like Mr. Miracle, Vision, Sheriff of Babylon, but there are people who hate his writing style. But his most controversial book is Heroes in Crisis, which I haven't read yet.
I have to read that.
I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. I'll have to read it, but I'm not desperate to read it, though.
Listen to this. That and Batman Damned are the two books we're reviewing from In Stock Trades for Omni Bros like a week from Monday.
Man, for someone who hates Damned so much, you've been reviewing it a lot. That's like your third review of it. You reviewed it with Kristen, then you reviewed it with me.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate for you.
It's easy. It's just a rant now. It's a rant I have down pat.
And Jess, on Omni Bros, what do they have to look forward to with Damned besides that review? Do you want to talk about that a little bit now that you crossed that $700 mark on the comic books for kids?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Now that we have a comic books for kids fundraiser, now that the original goal was $500 and then the stretch goal was $700. And if we hit $700, there is going to be an old time radio hour where each of the Omni Bros from the Sunday show is going to read a character. We're going to have the camera on the book itself, and each of us is going to take a part and read from Batman Damned like an old time radio hour. And that is going to be fun. We are going to have fun with that.
And Jess, just to whet their appetite, what characters will you be playing?
I will be playing John Constantine.
Oh, wow.
And Harley Quinn. That's how I'm going to make her sound too. Like
you might want to work on that Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn. I don't know. I'll have to work on that.
Who's playing Batman?
I think Gabe is.
Oh, all right.
Because we're saving Geo because he's got a radio voice. We're saving him for a lot of characters. There's so many characters in that book, so we're saving him for a lot of the characters.
Most important question: who's playing Etrigan the Rapper?
I think Luis is.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Is Omar going to be doing it?
No, he's not a Sunday bro.
Oh, that's too bad. I feel like Omar would have had some fun with that.
Yeah.
All right. So overall, with these two books, we give Metal a B, The Batman Who Laughs a B+. And we enjoy both of them, but they're not Scott Snyder's best Batman work, even though they're solid entries into his Batman work. And Irish Knight has one more question, but I don't think we're going to be able to help him out with this question.
I haven't read it yet.
He asked if we've read the Black Label Harleen yet. I haven't, because we're both collected edition waiters, so we'll find out in the near future. But I don't read single issues at this point.
I don't either. Yeah, sorry, Knight.
All right, so let's move into the event that you've all been looking forward to since our review 2 weeks ago, Batman Damned. Jess, we're both very positive guys, aren't we?
Yes.
We both love comics. We both love Batman comics especially. And so we don't go into any book wanting to hate it or wanting to dislike it. We go into each book with an open mind. Unfortunately, this book failed us on so many different levels. The
We
art,
like we like comic books because we like to be entertained. We like to have fun. We like to go into a book and say, entertain me. We want to have fun and be entertained and enjoy ourselves. It's a cruel, cold world out there, and we close the doors behind us and open up a comic book and say, transport me to a different world where things can be fun and different, right?
and I'm all good with dark storylines too. I'm fine
Well,
with that. But
sure.
that wasn't the problem with this story. The Black Mirror is dark. Batman Who Laughs is dark. This book was just incoherent. It was beautifully drawn and it was hollow at its core. It had nothing to say. It was boring. It was confusing. It started out strong and ended terribly. And I'm going to keep this book because I want to reread it in the future to give it maybe another chance to see if I do find something else about it. I want to have a good Batman collection that's well represented, but I can definitely see why you're doing this.
First, this is a really cool concept. I like the sort of clear.
Bruce Johannes says, "Burn it, then put it out with root beer."
I like the clear dust jacket. That's really cool, but it doesn't serve my purpose. Now, two things. One, there's going to be people out there who have said in the past it's wrong to pour root beer on a book, or you shouldn't pour root beer on a book. First of all, this is my book. I spent money on it. It's my own book. I can do whatever I want with it. I'm not hurting anyone.
He didn't go steal us from a child to ruin it.
No.
If you did steal us from a child, I would applaud you for that, though. Save them the pain. And Irish Knight says, "No, don't root beer. Send it to me." Dude, we care about you too much to do that.
No, and that's the second thing. People are saying you should donate it to a child, donate it to a library, donate it to this, donate to that. No, I don't want this book representing the comic book community. Like all my root beer books, I don't want it out there representing our community as a comic book. It's such a poor representative that people will look at it and go, ugh, this is what comic books are like today? Forget it. I'm not going to start collecting that. No, these are such egregious examples of books. They should not be read at all by anyone. They shouldn't have been bought by me in the first place, but I made that mistake and I'm owning up to it. And the fact is, they should be destroyed and not read by anyone.
Another reason for Jess to become the president of collected editions at DC. You can get a big trash barrel, throw them all in. So Irish Knight, if you want to read it, go ahead and read it, but we care about you too much to send it to you.
Yeah, now I've noticed that to get the best cohesion on the root beer, you kind of got to crumple the pages up.
So Jess, can you tell us what root beer you're using today?
Well, unfortunately, never send a woman to do a 6-year-old's job. I asked for Diet A&W, which is the worst root beer in my opinion, and she got me regular A&W. And so I apologize to all people who like A&W root beer because that's actually good root beer.
At least she didn't get you Frost Top.
I know.
That'd be like pouring like molten gold on something that you hate.
Yeah. So I apologize to all people who like A&W, but it's all the root beer I've got in the house. So this gives the best adhesive quality to the root beer if you crumple it up. So it should be warm Diet A&W typically, or Barks beer. Barks beer is truly wretched. Blech.
Is that the worst popular brand root beer?
I think so. Yeah, that's Coke's brand. And
what is there? There's Barks, there's A&W, and what else? Oh, Mug.
Mug is terrible too. Mug is wretched also.
I've been trying to find Frost Top. I can't find it anywhere.
Well, you know, there's an even better root beer, and that's Sprecher's. Have you found Sprecher's?
I tried Boylan.
Boylan's good.
I remember you told me about. I found that one. Where do you get Sprecher's? Where do you go for that?
I think Sprecher's is becoming more and more available not just at boutique places, but at stores like Wegmans and things like that.
I'll try to find it. I'll keep that in mind. I'll go to my local grocery store and see if they have it.
Yeah. Okay, this is taking too long. Come on.
All right, we're almost there, guys.
Okay.
The moment you've all been waiting for. Man, this is your most controversial root beer pour because you actually ruined the pages before you even poured root beer on it, which shows how much you hated this book.
Okay, can you see it well enough, you think?
You want to highlight yourself? How about you highlight yourself?
But don't you want to see the book?
Well, I meant to highlight your. That way they don't have to see me. Highlight yourself. That way they don't have to see me during this. All right, here we go, guys. Jess's least favorite book of all time.
This is Batman Damned getting the root beer treatment it deserves. Whoops, I ran out, but I brought a second bottle.
If we get any dislikes on this video, I know why.
Oh, it's okay.
Whatever. I wanted to find some music for this, but I couldn't find it, so we'll just do the dun, 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 dun,
play taps for it.
Dun, dun, dun. I wanted to find some good music, but I didn't want to get this video pulled for copyright infringement.
Yeah, so. we'll do it. We'll check out. So there you go. There is the root beer bath for Damned, the worst comic book I have ever read.
Oh, and Jess, I saw someone question you at one point and say it's even worse than Batman Odyssey. Would you say it's worse than Odyssey?
I do. I do think it's worse than Batman Odyssey because I had my hopes up because Azzarello's a real writer and has written. So here's what it looks like. All root beery. Azzarello's a real writer, and he should be much more. He's capable of much more.
Yes, Blue G. According to Jess, it's worse than Hollow Earth.
Yeah, he's capable of much more. Azzarello is. I know he is. I mean,
he's very hit or miss. Unfortunately, this was a big miss.
Yeah, and Neil Adams just isn't a writer, so I don't expect anything out of him.
Right.
But here we go to the second part. If you are interested, this is a book giveaway from Super Awesome Comic Guy. Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, sealed. If you're interested in this book, I will send it to you free. Send your name to omnidogsvault2 at gmail.com. That's omnidogsvault2 at gmail.com. Let me pull that up. And
I think Jeff is gone. I think he accidentally pressed the wrong button here, guys. We'll see if he can hop back on. All right. If you guys have any questions for me while I'm waiting for Jeff to come back on, let me know. Yeah, Jeff T, worse than Batman Odyssey. I've never read Batman Odyssey, but it's definitely not Jeff's favorite, and apparently a lot of people don't like it. I think Jeff accidentally pressed the wrong button and got out of this chat. So how about I'll answer some questions for the next couple minutes until Jeff comes back. How about that? All right. And please stick around for the giveaway. Okay, MJR, you guys need to read Twilight of the Bat. I never read that before. Never even heard of it. Who's that by? Someone poured root beer on OmniDog's internet. I guess so. I'm not exactly sure what happened to him. We'll see. I'm going to text Jess to see if he's going to be able to come back on.
Can you hear me?
Here he is.
Sorry, I goofed up.
Yeah, I assumed you pressed the wrong button.
I did. Okay.
I was trying to get some questions in the chat, but you came back too soon. So
thank you. Okay, if you want Shang-Chi, put in the the subject matter, Shang-Chi, and then just put your name or something in the body of the text. Put in your name to omnidogsvault2@gmail.com. omnidogsvault2@gmail.com. And I will do a random number generator. And this is today, only for those people who are watching live. omnidogsvault2@gmail.com. And we will see if we can give this book away.
Do you want to just type that email address into the chat? That way people can copy and paste it, make it a little bit easier for them.
Sure.
All right, so while you're doing that, Irish Knight, you going to see the new Joker movie? I saw it yesterday. And so hopefully Jess will be able to go see it in the next couple of weeks. We'll eventually do an episode talking about our favorite Joker comic book stories, and we'll also give our thoughts on the Joker movie. So I'm not going to spoil it here, but I thought it was good overall. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I thought it was good. I thought it could have been a little bit better, but I thought Joaquin Phoenix was astounding in the movie, and he was definitely the highlight of the movie for sure. I just thought there was something just missing there for me. And so we'll get into that in the future. But overall, it's definitely worth seeing.
I'll be right back. You
can
keep answering questions. I'll be right back.
All right. So overall, like I said, I think the book was overall very excellent. I'm sorry, the movie was overall excellent, but I just thought there was something there just missing for me a little bit. Joaquin Phoenix was amazing. I still think Ledger was better. I might change my mind whenever I see it again. It's hard for me to say that Joaquin Phoenix was better because I've been watching The Dark Knight since I was 17 years old. I've been watching it for over 10 years, and I just had Joker in that movie stick with me for so long. But it was so the new Joker movie was so well made. I'll give it that. It was so well shot. The cinematography was amazing. The lighting was great. The acting, everyone across the board, Joaquin Phoenix, Robert De Niro, everyone was excellent. But obviously Joaquin Phoenix steals the show, and he's in almost every single frame of this movie. And just even Todd Phillips, I'm really surprised that he had this movie in him because he's just done The Hangover. He's done movies like Starsky and Hutch and Old School, and some of those movies are great. Some of them aren't so great. But sometimes these comedy directors, these people who make these comedy movies, they end up being really great dramatic directors, which is great. And so I think Todd Phillips definitely has a bright future ahead of him with his directing career. And we'll see what happens after the Joker. And apparently this movie is very divisive. I've seen a lot of people who love it and a lot of people who hate it. And so we'll see how it does at the box office. We'll see how people truly respond to it. It's not going to be a movie that we get a sequel to. So this movie is a one and done. So Jess and I eventually will do our own spoiler review of it in a couple weeks, and we'll see what Jess thinks of it.
This is about the Joker?
Right. I was just telling them my thoughts about it.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so if you want Shang-Chi Volume 1 sealed, out of print, send your name to OmniDogsVault2, OmniDogsVault2 @gmail.com, and just put Shang-Chi in the subject line, and we will do a random number generator and give the book away due to super awesome comic book fan who wants no praise, no nothing, doesn't want any kind of
recognition,
no accolades. He just wants to give back to the show. We have other books too. I've got 3 other books to give away, which I will give away in the following weeks. So it was really cool of them.
That reminds me of Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David, where he's at this big charity event, and he donated a wing to this charity, and it says the Larry David Hall or wall or something, and everyone's like, "Oh, Larry, that's so great." And the wall next to his says anonymous, and everyone's like, "Oh, anonymous! That person is so great," and Larry's so mad. And it finds out that everyone's like, "Oh, that was Ted Danson." And everyone's like congratulating Ted Danson for being anonymous. But everybody finds out that he is anonymous. It's just hilarious.
I love that show.
That's a great show.
I haven't seen it in too long. I got to get back into it.
So do we want to answer some questions as you wait for the emails to pour in?
Sure.
So, you guys, if you have any questions or thoughts, just let us know. We'll answer that.
They don't necessarily have to be about Batman. I think
Yeah, they can be about
Taylor
anything.
reads other stuff besides Batman.
Yeah, I have my independent shelf over there, Image and Vertigo, Dark Horse, and I have my Marvel shelf over here. So I read a lot of other stuff besides Batman. So if you have any questions about anything or about movies, about TV, video games, I'm not be able to answer all of your questions. But
I got a question for you.
All right.
Did we already talk about that Birds of Prey trailer?
No, we didn't. Let's talk about. Me and you talked about it offline. We talked about it over texting. So why don't you give your thoughts, because you're a massive Harley Quinn fan.
I am. I am a massive Harley Quinn fan. I'm a massive Margot Robbie fan. But I gotta say, there was way too much Margot Robbie in that trailer, and I didn't even pick up. Somebody told me that Black Canary was singing on stage, and I was like, I don't even remember seeing that. And that Huntress was somewhere on a motorcycle, so I guess I remember seeing that. I don't even remember Cassandra Cain. I'm gonna have to watch this again. All I remember seeing is 54,000 shots of Harley Quinn
and Ewan McGregor as the Black Mask without a mask.
Yeah, no mask.
If your character's called the Black Mask, get a mask on there. that just made me really annoyed too. I guess they'll probably show how he becomes the Black Mask, but I don't know. I really didn't enjoy the trailer. I thought it just looks. And can we all agree that that's one of the worst titles of all time?
Yeah, no, everybody agrees that.
Let me look it up. I can't remember what it fully was because it's so long. Like, how can you even remember what that title is?
And the emancipation of one Harley Quinn and the emancipation in the personage of one particular Harley Quinn or something like that. Yeah, it should have just been called either Birds of Prey or something.
Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. That is the worst title of all time.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I remember whenever Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice came out, and I was like, oh, that's terrible. This is a million times worse.
Yeah, well, there was just too much Harley Quinn, and love Harley Quinn, love Margot Robbie, but there was so much Harley Quinn, I couldn't get a fix on what the movie was about or where it was going. I get that she broke up with Joker and that she was making her own way, but I didn't get the idea. I didn't get the sense of plot or what the story was or what they wanted to do. You know, in a movie like pick a movie, Ocean's 11. It's a movie about guys that are going to steal from a casino or something. And so that's set up and we see it happening. But this movie, I don't know what it's about. It's about Margot Robbie singing songs and dancing around and pouring drinks.
I think DC's biggest problem is a lot of times they don't know what they want their movies to be about. They don't decide ahead of time. This is what we want the movie to be. They almost decide as they're filming it and as they're editing it. You need to have a pre-existing goal before you go into a movie. Like the Joker, they had a very clear goal what they wanted that movie to be. Shazam, they had a very clear goal. Wonder Woman, very clear goal. Suicide Squad, they did not. It was a hodgepodge mess. They actually had that movie edited by a trailer making company. I'm sorry, that's not. Trailers are important, and yes, that's an important job, but they shouldn't be editing movies. Or a movie like Batman v Superman, it's like there was so much going on. Or Justice League, it was so messed with after it was made and reshoots, and they just didn't pick a tone in that movie. DC just needs to say, we're going to make this movie. This is what the point of the movie is. This is the theme. This is the tone, and we're going to stick with it. And this movie seems like it's all over the place.
Yeah, badly.
And again, I try to reserve my judgment for when I see movies, but I kind of don't want to see this movie, to be honest.
Well, if it gets the poor grades that I think it's going to get, then I'm not going to want to see it either. But if maybe it was a badly shot trailer or poorly put together, and maybe it gets stretched out, Harley's scenes get stretched out, and we'll get more, Canary and Huntress and stuff stuck in there, and it'll make sense. I'm hoping.
I mean, we'll see. Maybe it'll be great, but I doubt it.
Jesse, say what? No, I have not seen Joker yet. I actually just got out of the hospital Wednesday, so I haven't had a chance to do anything.
Yeah, so we'll give Jess some time to figure that out. So we'll eventually talk about the Joker.
We have let's give it 2 more minutes on the giveaway of the Master of Kung Fu Volume 1, Shang-Chi. If you write into OmniDog's Vault 2 at gmail.com and put in Shang-Chi on your subject line, you will be entered into the giveaway. That's Master of Kung Fu Volume 1, sealed, out of print, given to us by super awesome comic book fan for his love of comics and his love of this show, which is awesome.
We'll just call him Anonymous.
Yeah, we'll call him Anonymous, Ted Danson.
That'd be funny if it was Ted Danson. Blue G had a good question a while ago. He said, how much time do you spend a day reading?
Me personally?
Well, I guess both of us.
Gosh, it depends on the day. I would say 2 hours a day.
I would say I try to do an hour a day if I can. That's my goal. That'll probably change when the baby comes. Well, maybe I'll be able to read more because he'll just be sleeping a lot during the day. But we'll see. I try for an hour, though.
And then there's days where I have to read all day, and I just make time to do it all day.
Yeah, I think sometimes people think you live in your cave.
Yeah, I don't actually live in here.
You nailed it shut, and you just stay down there.
Wouldn't that be great? Jesse, say what? No, no reason to apologize. It's okay. You didn't know. I was just saying that's why I haven't had a chance to see the Joker. I just haven't had. I just got out Wednesday, and I haven't had a chance to do anything. I am so far behind in reading. I mean, last Wednesday, life was so good. I was like, look at all these books I got, and I got all this stuff on Netflix I want to watch and all these other things. And boom, I went down like a shot, and I was in the hospital for a week, and I come back and I'm just way behind on everything. But I did get to pour root beer on Batman Damned, so that's good.
Yeah, this show was very up in the air because we weren't sure if you were going to be able to even be here. So I'm really thankful mostly that you're feeling better and you're out of the hospital and you seem to be doing well. And I'm thankful we were able to do this show together. So
I agree. Taylor, you were instrumental in my recovery because you were texting me constantly, which I really appreciated. You're checking in with me all the time in the hospital. I really appreciated that. That made me feel good.
Don't you mean that Anonymous was texting you?
Anonymously.
I wanted to remain anonymous, but
yeah,
I'm just joking. I was happy to do it. You're a good friend, and I know you do the same for me. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad you're better. We're all happy that you're back.
Jess, did you get to order?
Did you get to order on painkillers this week? Cannot wait.
Did you get to order on painkillers this week? Cannot wait to see your next haul.
That was one of the best Omni Bros moments. That was like a month or two ago when you're opening that book and you're like, "What is this?"
I feel like that was about 2 months ago. Yeah,
that was hilarious. All the best Omni Bros moments involve you doing something funny. You pouring the root beer on your keyboard. You showing off those adult books in front of Emily's mom. Yeah. Chipping the tooth on pizza wasn't funny for you, but it was funny for the rest of us.
Yeah, that's right. I do a lot of nutty stuff. For the record, I didn't show anything to Emily's mom. I kept going, no, I can't show this. No, I can't show that. No, I can't show this. And it was Nemo that knocked the little Nemo knocked the Coke onto the keyboard, and that's why
I remember watching that one live. I've fortunately been there for all the live snafus for you.
You have?
I think so. All the big ones, I think. I'm not able to watch every show live. I'd say I watch like 50% live. But
You've seen all the greatest hits,
I've
though.
seen all the greatest hits, fortunately. Gio or Gabe needs to create a sizzle reel of all those.
What's that?
Gabe or Gio, because they're good at editing and that stuff. They should make a sizzle reel of all your
A sizzle reel.
biggest funny moments on the channel. Well, do you want to get back to the giveaway?
Yeah, why don't I go there and do the randomizer? Okay. Dun, 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 dun.
Jesse, say what? No, the baby's going to wreak havoc on your reading. I sadly agree.
Oh, we got a lot of people that wanted it.
Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah, good. That is good.
And Slaughter of the Apes, interesting name, says Omni Bros is not the same without the dog. So
thank you.
People are happy at your back.
And Blue G said something really nice too. He said something like, "You bet we're glad you're back." That's very nice of you, Blue G. Thank you.
Oh, Jesse, say what? Across the bow. Unfortunately, I was there for the Pop-Tart episode. Ouch.
Oh,
not
everything can be a home run.
Wasn't that your most disliked video or something? Or the Mad Libs one?
I think the Mad Libs one was our most hated one.
I just like spending time with you guys. You guys can do whatever you want. I think it's fun regardless. I think people watch more to hang out with you guys than to hear all these thoughts, which are also good on comics. But anyway,
let me do the random numberizer, and it is Michael Lombardo.
Awesome. And Michael Lombardo just had a funny comment. Those medicated orders are responsible for IST blowout third quarter profit.
I really don't think. Let's see. I was in the hospital Tuesday. I don't think I did that big of a an order. But I did just do an order for all the War of the Realms books for the latest sale.
I do need to read those. I do.
Yeah, I did get a bunch of those. Irish Knight, are you okay? Yeah, what I had was pancreatitis, and it's an inflamed pancreas. So yeah, they keep you in there a long time. They feed you nothing but pain medicine and no food or water because
no food or water, wow.
Yeah, they feed you through IV bag, and you're not hungry because you've got this incredible stabbing pain throughout your whole stomach area, and it's the most pain I've ever had, and for a whole week, and you've just got to give your pancreas time to calm down and heal itself, and it's still healing itself. I got out of the hospital Wednesday, and they said it can take up to 2 weeks for it to heal itself. So I could be up to 2 more weeks of pain, and I'm supposed to stay on a clear liquid diet and add low-fat diet to it slowly but surely.
Okay.
So well, like that.
You definitely look back to normal from my end. So.
Oh, thank you. I looked bad over the weekend. I can promise you that.
On Thursday night when you were back on the live show, I could tell you were kind of out of it. But
yeah, I probably should.
You look great now.
I probably should have just not gone on Thursday night. How do you get that, Jess? Just random? Anything to do with you that you used to drink? That sounds so scary. That's a good question, Irish Knight, because the fact is, it usually only happens to people that drink. And I haven't had a drink in over 11 years. So it doesn't make sense that I got it. And gallstones, it happens to people that get gallstones. And there are a couple other things. But drinkers and people who get gallstones are the 2 top candidates for pancreatitis. And so that was disappointing that they couldn't figure out why I got it, and it doesn't have to do with my past drinking. It doesn't stay with you. It's like current drinking episodes. And believe me, That was enough pain. That was the most pain I've ever been in. Had they said you can't ever drink again, I would have said okay, because it was freaking pain. The most pain I've ever been in for 5 or 6 days. It was
Right.
incredible.
I remember you saying I can't even read anything or watch any TV because I can't even pay attention, and that's terrible. Just sitting there looking at the wall. I think that's what you told me. You're just looking at the wall all the time.
Yeah, that's really what that's why I liked your text, because it reminded me, not only did it remind me that there were people out there that cared about me, but it gave me something to do, because when I'm in pain, I can't do anything. I find no joy in reading or watching TV or
Yeah.
anything, because I can't concentrate, and I can't enjoy the newspaper. I couldn't enjoy a comic book or a book. Or I knew I was feeling better when Wednesday morning I started watching something on Netflix on my iPad.
Well, I'm so glad you're back, and we're excited to see more videos from you and see you get even better.
Well, thank you, Irish Night. Yeah, it's curable. Um, the problem, it's calmed down now. My levels are back to normal. The problem is, since we don't know what caused it, we don't know how to keep it from happening again. So we're trying to figure out how to keep it from happening again. So I got to see a gastroenterologist, and I didn't mean for this to turn into an organ recital for me. So I
No,
apologize.
no, people care about you and they want to hear this. Don't
Okay.
apologize for that. Trust me. They if you had made it known on the Omnibus group that you were in the hospital, you would have gotten a million more messages and texts. So don't apologize. People care about you, so they want to. People obviously care because they're asking you a bunch of questions here.
Yeah, well, that's true. Thank you, Freddie, for saying that I have a cool shirt. I do dig this shirt.
And Freddie Alonso earlier, he says the dog is the best part. The rest of the bros get unruly without your gracing presence.
Really?
Even
Wow.
Gio reveals his dark side, hating Pixar movies.
Thank you. Thank you, Irish Knight. Thank you, Blue G. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Freddie. I really appreciate all those nice thoughts. That really makes me feel good. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. That really makes me feel good. Um, uh, Thank you, Michael. Michael, since you are the big winner, to OmniDog's Vault 2, send me your mailing address, and I will mail this out to you Monday.
Congratulations, Michael. Hope you
Yeah,
enjoy it.
congratulations. I'm glad you won.
Well, I was really excited to be back with a live show today because we've had a whole month of just pre-recorded shows, and I love interacting with the chat. This is a good show.
Yeah, it was. Oh, Jacques, thank you. I'm the MVP of Omni Bros. Wish you the best. Thank you, Jacques.
Did you see Johnny Rando's comment?
Yeah, and I don't know that he's wrong. Things have been happening in this house since I dunked.
No, Jess. I'm serious. I was texting you about this. I had a 3-week long cold after reading Batman Damned, and then you had this. I blame that. Maybe the curse will be broken now.
You think it's Batman Damned? I'm not sure. I think it might be Darkhawk.
Well,
Things.
yeah, didn't your lights turn off like 5 different times whenever you dunked
Oh,
Darkhawk?
it was like 12 times. There was a local outage that affected like 2 blocks, and it was, our house was amongst them. And it, like, as soon as I dunked Darkhawk, our power just kept going out and out and out and out. And ever since then, I've had a hernia operation. I've had pancreatitis. Other things have been happening. Garbage disposal bill. I mean, come on. Darkhawk may be more powerful than I thought.
In my experience with my life, bad things happen in groups. So I think you're probably the tail end of it. Then you have a couple months with nothing going on. So hopefully you'll have that for the next couple months. But the good thing is you'll always have the support of everybody on your channel and Omni Bros and on the Facebook group. You have a lot of people supporting you, and we're always here to encourage you.
Well, thank you so much, dude. Oh, wait, the Bobby Bonilla of this show. Who is?
Who's Bobby Bonilla?
Do you know?
I don't think I know who that is. maybe if let me look it up.
Oh, it's the funniest thing ever. It's a super deep.
He's a baseball player.
Burn on me.
I'm not a big sports guy, especially.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
I used to be, but I've kind of just dropped off, so I don't know who that is.
I'm a Mets fan, so it's a super big burn on me.
I appreciate it, Joe Chip. Thanks for saying that. I definitely love being on this channel, and it's always fun hanging out with Jess and you guys.
Freddie Alonso, Bombshell Batwoman Pop. I do not have that. No, I don't.
Clearly the Danny DeVito of YouTube. Wow. Is that a compliment?
Who's the Danny DeVito?
I don't know. Me or me. I like Danny DeVito, so I'll take those as a compliment.
Me? Oh, meaning even when you are not here, people still talk about you.
So you ready to wrap it up?
Yeah. Chat, you've been great today. Thank you. I think we had good numbers and you guys were great. I'm glad we were able to give away this book courtesy of Super Awesome Comic Book Fan we've got 3 more of his books to give away in the coming weeks. And Michael Lombardo, congratulations. And Taylor, I appreciate all your effort on the metal reading order. And it's, as always, it's been great talking about Batman on Baturdays in the Batcave.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite shows so far. I think it went really well. So thank you, everybody, for making it a great show. This is probably our most interactive show yet, so that made it a lot more fun.
Yeah.
So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
We will see you in 2 weeks. What's our topic? Do we know? Or are we going to talk about that after?
We're going to talk about it after because my life's going to get more complicated in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
We'll figure it out, though. But there will be a video, whether it's probably going to be pre-recorded, but we'll see.
Okay.
But it's my goal and my mission to try to always have there be a video of some sort.
Yeah. We've pre-recorded a lot of videos, so we can at least have something up.
I love consistency with the channels I watch, so I know that people like consistency. So I'm going to try my best.
Okay. That sounds good. You can
all right,
count
guys.
on
Thank
me.
you so much. Thank you so much for all your encouraging words, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much, chat. You guys are a bunch of good guys. I appreciate it very much. I really do. It means a lot to me. And peace and love. Peace and love. Don't buy Batman Damned.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. Exactly.
And hit the notification bell. That's important.